Greetings and welcome. My name is Wrath, and this is Kerbal Space Program. Now, what we're going to be doing today is rather unique. A lot of people have been doing these combat-oriented Kerbal Space Program playthroughs, and those are really fun, and I really have enjoyed watching a bunch of those. So I've decided to sort of throw my hat in and do my own. But I don't want to do just a rehash of what other people have been doing. Instead, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. This game is going to be an open invitation for others to participate in the game. The way this is going to work is that I've modded this particular copy of Kerbal Space Program to just have a number of mods to make the game a little bit more interesting. Mods like B9 Aerospace, BD Armory, Extraplanetary LaunchPads, Karbonite, Kerbal Attachment System, Kerbal Engineer, Infernal Robotics, and Mechjeb, and a few others that I will include the full list in the description. But what we're going to be doing is that each participant, once the game has been kicked off, will have their own career mode that they will be using to develop their company's technologies. And then there will be a shared collaborative world, which I will show you right now. And that will be this, the Conflicted Space Sandbox, and I will send a copy of that file, of that save game, to everybody that gets accepted for participation. And how this will work is that each week the persistent file for the Conflicted Space game will be passed to one of the participants, and it will be their opportunity to record one episode of them launching one of their ships or launching some device, one mission of some sorts, into the Kerbal Space of the joint world. In that time, all of the other participants will be playing in their career modes to develop their technologies, because we'll all be working from the career mode as our basis. That means you'll have to mind your funds and your research, and so some groups will have access to technologies that the other groups do not. With that being said, here is what we're going to be doing for the setup. Now, anybody that wants to participate in this, you'll need to have recording software. I actually am using the Low game recorder, just because it allows me easier recording without time constraints and having to buy Bandicam and such, or Fraps, or whatever you want to use. But whatever you're going to use is fine. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to... Alright, so we're going to name ours Ares. And what you're going to do is you're going to go in and switch this to easy, but then we're going to make some modifications. So we're going to remove stock vessels. We're going to leave all of this alone, but we're going to shove the penalties down into the dirt. We're going to throw the cash all the way up, and then we're going to give, each person is going to get 610 starting research. And this is just because we don't want everybody having to scrounge through the first sort of leg of research over and over and over again. And it allows for each group to sort of, each individual to specialize their company. So once that's done, and the reason we started off on easy is because it affects the purchase price of the buildings. And this money right here is enough to do most of your upgrades, but not all of them. So it allows you to give yourself a little bit of a boost in terms of like not being restricted in, how many parts you can use and how many, how much weight you can put on the launch pad, such as that. So it just gets some of the minor details of career out of the way so that we can just do the fun parts. And the money and rewards are just there so that, it's going to be difficult for people to accidentally run themselves out of the game in their career mode. It'll be the actual losses in the joint game that will cost them and force them to possibly retire out of the game. And that's one of the major details, is that if you run out of money, you're out. You're going to be out of the game, and you'll have to retire. Part of that issue is that whenever we build something in this game, whenever when it's your turn to do the joint game, if you're launching something into the conflicted space file, you also have to launch it into your career game so that it takes the funds for that ship out of circulation in your game. And you leave it in your game until it's either destroyed, at which point you destroy it in your career game as well so that you can't recover all of the parts, or if you do recover it in the joint game, then you also recover it in your career mode. So orbital devices get put into a low stable orbit. Anything that's flying around the planet, obviously, you just park it somewhere, and if it gets destroyed, you just go wreck it. With that being said, once these settings are set, you're going to go ahead and get started. Now, I'm going to go ahead and start mine and let you get a quick look at it. So, now with the funds, the first thing that I'm going to do is go ahead and we're going to tell it no. And I'm going to go ahead and do my initial upgrades, just because really you want to get these all upgraded. Your launch pad, your VAB, and your spaceplane hangar. And as I said, you see that the prices are pretty low, but there's a good reason for this, because once you've done a few upgrades, you're going to run out of money really, really fast. See, like here I'm down to 32,000, and I've barely even done anything, and I'm going to go ahead and do that upgrade as well. So I'm down to 25,000, even though I started with the max cash of 500,000. And I've, my facilities are top-notch through here because we want everybody to be able to not be restricted to having to try and finance those upgrades early on. But you'll notice that I still do have to save up money to upgrade my science facility, but I've got the first upgrade down, so I can do a fair bit. So let's go ahead and get in here, and I'm going to pick out my research. Now, I personally am a huge, huge fan of space planes. I don't always do them right, and I'm not all that good at them, but I really, really like them, especially like VTOLs. I really like the VTOL planes because they provide so much that you can do, and I just, I feel like I gotta have them. But that means we're gonna have to go through and make some fun science. Okay, because that's what I need right there is landing gears. And what else do I need here? I need the ladders. Is this the one that's going to give me the ladders? I think so. It gives me those ones at least, so hopefully that... Yeah, see, that's the one I want, and I can't actually afford it, which is unfortunate, but I suppose I can live with that. I'll have to work on getting those too. And it leaves me with just enough to get some some general rocketry here. And do I have enough for either of these? No. Okay. So that pretty much starts out my company. They obviously are a purveyor primarily of aircraft, and so that's where their designs are limited. So it gives me some advantages, some drawbacks. From here, it's, obviously the basic, the basic contracts here are how you're going to make your money, and of course everybody has seen a million and a dozen playthroughs of how to do that and how to get it all set up, so I'm not going to really bother anybody with that little minutia, and so we'll do that real quick right off the bat here, because nobody wants to have to do an extra episode about just the basics of what everybody ends up doing. Okay, double that up. And I always include, not that, there it is, Kerbal Engineer. Because it's just a really helpful, useful tool, and you know, I can't live without it. That's one of the things. I did include things like Mechjeb and stuff because I know that, like me, not everybody's great at this game, and you know, a little bit of a helping. Oh, shoot! I always do that. I forget to turn off symmetry with the things that I just want to stick on one side there. Okay. So. Okay, and in your ships, you'll obviously provide, you know, your acronym for your company, and then it'll be either P for private or C for commercial. Anything that you label as commercial can be docked with and utilized by any corporation when it's in the joint game, and that's just, you know, like if you want to do like a refueling station or something along those lines, you can put those up and make them available to everybody. I doubt that that's going to happen all that much. So, alright, so let's get started here. Save that and launch it. And you are, of course, allowed to revert flights and stuff like that, you know, for stuff goes wrong all the time. And I don't want people just throwing away their money because, you know, some minor little mishap in the launch. Take a crew report because it's fun. EVA report because it's fun. And then get your butt back on board. And this is the launch. Alright, this is why, this up here, right, is why I put Kerbal Engineer on, is because I don't want to have an engineer on board to get this data. Now I'm just turning this over because I don't want it to give me too much high of an apoapsis. Alright, there we've gotten our altitude. And we're going to go ahead and bust out the parachutes. And, oh, I should have set these for much lower because I hate waiting. Let's, okay, 50. 50. And 50. Alright, so that'll be a real quick little double down here. Get rid of that and get rid of that and that. Okay, so let's see, and I hate waiting for this thing, you know, dropping through the sky. Come on, Jebediah. Let's get it over with. Yay for Jeb. He's having an awesome time. Hopefully this won't explode like... Oh! What a landing. That's kind of scary, actually, to get that low. And mission complete and recover. Okay, so that's it for this recording, and I hope to hear from you soon regarding your involvement in this conflicted space program. Have a good one. See you on the flip side.